Well, hello there, people. We are going to talk a little bit about this over here. I know we've seen the video called, so I don't really know what the title is right now. And so, yeah, I am a little bit sick. I have a cold, so that's why I sound a little bit crazy. But I got this idea with this little thing over here because I was talking to some people in my Discord, and they were talking about Chris Titus Tech. This is not a stab at him. Look at this as understanding the Chris Titus Tech conundrum effect, the Chris Titus Tech phenomenon, I think you will call it, or put your name in there. I still don't know what to call this video, so I'm just throwing some things out there. But I've been talking about this on some of my live streams. Some of my viewers have shown me this, the Dunning-Kruger effect. I don't want to go in and sit here and explain it in great detail what it is. It's kind of self-explanatory. If you want to go into a psychological rabbit hole, go read up about this. But as you guys can see here, I will be doing some drawings and whatnot on here. If I can get a paintbrush, you can see here I can type some things and whatnot. But this kind of explains exactly what's going on with Chris Titus Tech when we are talking Linux. I don't dislike the guy. I actually don't have a big problem with him as a person. It's just that the Linux content that he puts out there, with the followers that he has, makes me worry because there is a lot of not great information in his videos and people are sucking it up. So this here is a really good example to kind of show you guys what's going on with Chris Titus Tech, like what the effect that he has or think he has on people, and why he may be so as popular as he is, but also why he thinks the way he thinks. Because this curve here, or effect, or what you will call it, I think it's also called the Dunning-Kruger curve, I could be mistaken here, is something that we all falls into. So some do it way more often and in bigger degrees. Other, it's like we go a little bit up, like we know everything, and then we figure out we don't. Some rarely fall into this trap, but I, in my life experience, have experienced this on every kind of people. Really intelligent, smart people, humble people. They go into this here in some way. Like, they may not go all the way up here with their confidence, but they go through this Dunning-Kruger curve more to some more or less degree. I have done it multiple times. You have, and so on and so on. Let's talk about Chris Titus Tech's Linux content. Why is he so popular? I mean, there's so many content creators, me and other people out there, saying that his Linux content is not really that good. There's a lot of holes in the content he provides. He's not understanding a lot of things. He's misrepresenting a lot of things with Linux, and so on and so on. Well, that's because he's been using Linux, let's say 3, 4, 5 years, maybe longer, whatever. But he is up here. He's up here. So if you look at the curve here, competence, how much we actually know. It's down here, low to high. Confidence, how confident are we in our abilities and so on, how much we think we know. And then you have here, of course, I know everything. Oh, there's more to it than I thought. I may never understand this. It's finally starting to make sense to me. Was it easy? No. Complicated? Yes. Chris Titus Tech is up here. He learned something about Linux. He put it to use in a corporate work environment. So his confidence went all the way up here because he learned something, or learned some basic tools and some basic things. He applied it for a job, or in a job setting. He got praise and acknowledgement for his peers and his employers. You know, that confidence runs up. The thing is that he's still up here. I've been following Chris Titus Tech since day one. I loved his first 6 months or so of Linux videos where he tried Linux distributions as a noob. He's like, never tried this before. Let me try it for a week, a month, and then give, his opinion on it. I loved that because it was him acknowledging that he was down here. And learning with us, talking with us, and so on and so on. You knew what you got, but the more subscribers he got, the more pats on the backs he got, and so on and so on, his confidence started to go all the way up here. And that's the dilemma I have with him. I'm going to remove some of these things now. Because if you are up here, you are going to do a shit ton of mistakes. You are going to not give the right information, not understanding a lot of the fundamental things. The problem I have with people that are up here in a lot of instances is that they think they are here. So they don't say to themselves, oh, I have to learn, I have to explore, I have to dive deeper into this because I already know everything. I think I do, my peers say I do, my audience viewers say I do, and so on. So basically, he's not getting confronted. He's not being confronted by people saying that he's actually, well, he's kind of here on the knowledge level, competence. He may still have a high confidence in himself, but he should not be. But nobody's really confronting him, so he's staying up here. So you may say, yeah, but you stupid idiot, he has like almost 500,000 subscribers. That's true, but that's because there are probably the majority of computer users, especially hobbyists. They are down here when it comes to Linux. They have no confidence in it. They have no competence. Basically, they don't know anything, or they know really little things about Linux, and they are not really confident in the knowledge that they already have. So someone that's here, that has a little bit more knowledge than them, and has a high confidence. So these people down here, he's a guru, he's a teacher, he's someone that can, give them information. The thing is, when you are up here, you are not far from being down here. It could be understanding what a display manager is. You may be up here. And knowing how to install a program in Ubuntu, you may be down here. That's the, there's not much difference. You get what I'm saying here? He don't know so much more than these people down here. He just have a shit ton of confidence in himself. And confidence can be great and all. If you're trying to help people, if you're trying to be a teacher, if you're trying to give information out to people, you need to always, in my humble opinion, be down here. I may never understand this. Why? Because then you're always trying to be better. You're always trying to research the subject. You're always trying to, okay, this is what I know, other things I don't know, before you make the video, before you explain the subject, and so on and so on. Unless you are saying up front, this is what I know, this video is done with my limited understanding of the subject. You are still down here, but you're telling your audience that this is what you can expect from your videos. If you are up here, what you will say to your audience is, I know everything, I'm an expert, I've done this for a living, I have these certificates, listen to me, I know everything. But in reality, you're just down here. That's the problem with Chris Titus Tech. Or not the problem, but that's basically Chris Titus Tech in a nutshell. And the thing is, people can live up here, have successful careers, if they are associating themselves with people down here. So if their job of oh, it got really dark here. So if they're, the people that hire them are down here. If their peers are down here, if their viewers are down here, they think he's over here when he's up here, and he starts to think he's over here. Why am I saying this? I'm going to, there you go. So why am I saying this about this little thing up here? Well, this can be a really good tool to keep yourself in check, keep your ego in check, keep your brain in check, because it's really easy. Like I said, Chris Titus Tech has probably been told a lot of times how smart he is by a lot of people that know less than he do. So you start to believe your own bullshit. Okay? You start to believe what people are saying to you. And you end up, you go up here in the effect here, or the curve, or what you will call it. But if you don't know about this phenomenon here, if you don't know about this psychological trait that a lot of people, that we all have, and we all doing this, like I said, to some extent, it can be really hard to actually get a high competence, because when you are here, you don't think that I need to learn anything more. To some extent, of course, everyone wants to learn more, but more or less, a lot of people up there, they don't really seek knowledge. They don't really... They think they already have found everything they need to find. They know everything they need to know. They don't see any reason to do further studies and stuff like that until they either get confronted with it, they meet people that are over here, and they are confronting them on a consistent basis, or people down here are confronting them that they are not up here. But when you see Chris Titus Tech's comment section and the way he conducts himself, the people he associates with, it's more or less people down here or people that are here with him. So he's not really being confronted a lot of times. Because, me that makes reaction videos of him to correct a lot of the mistakes he's doing, I'm a troll and blah, 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 why am I racking on him and stuff like that? Well, when I did, I don't do it anymore because I was just tired of him, to be honest. But when I did reaction videos, it was for me, of him, that was my way of getting people down here to realize he's up here and hopefully make himself realize that he's up here and he may need to start to go into these little things here. Okay? So I did it in hope that, because if I type in his comment section, he will probably not read it. But if I make a reaction videos and other people talking about Chris Titus Tech, and they are relaying it back to him, his viewer base that he listens to, it could help him to get down here. Why do I want him to get down here? Because when you get down here, this is where all of your growth goes. You start to grow. You get a lot of knowledge. You get a lot of understanding. You grow your base about the knowledge that you have. You grow the information that you have. You become a better teacher or a better person to deal with the subject that we're dealing with, in this case Linux. So if you want to become a better Linux user, a better Linux teacher, a better Linux guru, a better Linux whatsoever it is, he needs to always make sure that he are self-critical enough to go from up here to down here and go up here and do this circle all the time. And then when he see himself trying to get a little bit more over here again, he needs to be, time out, let's reassess this. Let's look at this from the outside. What are other people saying? How are people receiving the things I'm saying? Start to go down here and do this little circle here. Because that's also something that I've noticed in my almost 40 years on this earth, dealing with a lot of fucking people that think they are smart, and a lot of smart people, is that this Dunning-Kruger effect here is, I would say, when you start to understand, again, Linux is a really broad subject, but if you start to understand, let's say, System D, you could then become up here, okay, I understand how to install a program in a System D. Now I'm up here again. But what about not init systems, modules? Oh, now you're starting to go down here again. Now I understand modules and System D. Now I'm starting to become up here again. And then you're learning a new effect. Again, this is just my humble opinion and my observation that it's kind of going in circle, that we get a little bit of knowledge, we get a high confidence, then we realize that's things we don't understand. We go down here again, we get a little bit more competence, get a high confidence, figure out that we really don't know what we're talking about, and it kind of goes a little bit like this. But for a lot of people like Chris Titus Tech that are isolating themselves for negativity, and I think his biggest problem is that he's not self-critical enough. Why am I saying this? Well, he would not be making a lot of the fundamental mistakes in his videos that he's making if he was just a little bit more critical about himself and didn't have that much confidence in himself or ego. Because a lot of people, when they get a high confidence, they get a massive ego. And again, I have worked, managed people a big part of my life. I've dealt with a lot of people that have narcissistic traits doing my jobs because I've worked with narcissists and stuff like that. So I don't need to be a fucking educated psychologist, psychiatrist to figure out when people have an ego. We all have it. I have it, you have it. But with confidence, a lot of people, it goes right into their ego if their ego is not being hold on check or getting, confronted. And that's the problem with Chris Titus Tech on his Linux content, is that people down here are boosting his confidence that are then boosting his ego. And that's a really massively bad combination. Why do I say he has an ego? Well, what's his Windows something video about where he tells you how to do something with Windows, and he tells how much money Windows have made him during the years and how much certifications, all the certifications that he have with Windows. I don't care how much money you made off being a Windows administrator. I don't care about the certifications if they have nothing to do with the video in hand. I have computer certifications. None of them has anything to do with Linux. It's all administrative Linux certifications, Word programming certifications, graphic work certifications and stuff like that. So if I list that I have these, not certifications, but courses, I took these courses in Photoshop and stuff like that, and I'm talking about the Linux kernel, you're like, what? Why? Yeah, well, I'm flexing my ego. What needs to happen here is that I wish that this somehow got into the face or got into the brain of Chris Titus Tech, that he may need to start to think about this a little bit. Because just my little insignificant channel here, done by a now sick, constipated, what is called, crazy Danish idiot, I get a lot of people. And I don't mean hundreds of thousands, but I mean probably a good handful or two handfuls a week telling me in all kind of different ways, or telling me in live streams or in comment sections and in Discords, that they realized that when they found Chris Titus Tech when they were down here, they thought he was up here. But after watching his content for X amount of time, they realized he was only here. He was only a little bit more knowledgeable than they are. I have had people use Linux for 6 months, got frustrated with his Linux content because they could debug almost everything he said with 6 months of experience. Why can newbies debug him that fast? Because he's up here, but he thinks he's over here. And he will not realize that his competence in Linux is down here. And we all should realize that no matter how much you know about Linux, even the amazing DJ Ware that has probably more Linux and Unix and computer experience than any of us has been alive, I will still only put him here. Because there's always things you can learn. You should always never say, I am massively in the competence area with anything. Because if you think that you know a lot, if you think that you know most things about a subject, if you think that you have acquired all the valid information about a thing, that you actually think you know 90% of what you're talking about. If you think you know that, your growth to know 100% stops. And most people, they stop acknowledging this, what they actually, or start to think that they actually know 100% when they are around 40, maybe 50. They're like, I know so much about this subject. I don't need to research new things. I don't need to learn new things. I am the expert. And then the pursuit to actually become better and learning, get up in this area here stops. You maybe stop down here or here. So you don't grow. You don't learn. And that's my experience watching Chris Titus Tech until like 2 years or a year ago. I couldn't watch it anymore. Because every time I watched a video from him, I got the feeling he was stuck down here. He never learned... of course you learn new things, but it looked like that his pursuit to get up here has kinda halted, or he's only moving this a little bit when he really times 10,000 need to. It's not something he do on his own, because he already knows everything. Anyway, this was just my little crazy random video about the Chris Titus Tech phenomenon, experience, effect, call it what the fuck you will. And I will say this. If you think that you're better than the Dunning-Kruger effect, you're not, or curve. We all have been here. We all have been here. We all have been here, 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 and here. And we will all be all of these places all over our life, in different parts of our life. See you all later. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.